Welcome to Dog Facts and Fun channel, where every fact hides a story of love. In today's video, we're diving into practical dog life hacks, the kind that quietly change what your dog feels, and what you never realized they needed. You've likely done this before. You toss a treat, pat their head, think you've done enough. But what if that tiny habit was making things worse or better in ways you didn't even see veterinarians now say? Simple changes like where you place the bowl or how you dry their paws can ease joint pain, stop anxiety, even avoid costly emergencies. No pills, no big effort. Just knowing what matters before something goes wrong. Some of these hacks may feel odd at first, but by the end of today, they'll feel like second nature. And in the final tip, I'll share one thing I wish I knew the day my dog stopped breathing. Let's begin. Right where most owners never look the floor, where most people never think twice. If your dog is older, stiff, or just a little slower to sit or stand, you might notice them hesitating at mealtime. What you may not realize, that simple bowl on the floor could be making every meal harder on their joints. Veterinarians now recommend slightly elevating your dog's food and water bowls just enough so they don't have to crouch or stretch. It relieves pressure on their neck, spine, and shoulders. For big breeds or dogs with arthritis, this tiny shift can mean the difference between eating comfortably and struggling silently. And no, you don't need a fancy contraption. A sturdy box, a thick book, or even an old crate can do the trick as long as it's stable and fits your dog's height. Once you try it, you'll notice it. They stand straighter, eat calmer, and finish without pacing after. And speaking of pacing, ever noticed your dog circling or licking their feet after a walk? Let's talk about what might really be going on and how you can fix it before it becomes a costly mistake. 2. Paw drying and salt protection. Those little feet, they go through more than we think. Especially in winter, salt, ice, and chemical de-icers hide in places you can't even see. Your dog walks through it all, then comes home, curls up, and starts licking. That's where trouble starts. Even a small amount of sidewalk salt can crack paw pads, cause burns, or lead to stomach irritation if they lick it off. And for older dogs with sensitive skin, the damage builds up quietly. Here's what works. Before a walk, rub a thin layer of pet-safe balm or plain Vaseline on their paws. It forms a barrier like invisible boots. Then, when you get home, grab a warm towel. Not too wet, not too dry. Wipe between each toe gently but thoroughly. It's 5 seconds of care that could prevent a $500 vet visit. And here's the thing, most dogs start to wait for it. It becomes part of the routine. A quiet moment that says, "You're safe now." But what happens when that safety gets shaken by something they can't see, only feel? Let's talk about one of the most overlooked triggers of anxiety in older dogs: static electricity. 3. Static relief during thunderstorms. They don't hear the storm first, they feel it. That buzz in the air before thunder rolls in. It builds up as static in your dog's coat, and for some, it's unbearable. It's not the boom that makes them hide in the bathroom. It's that strange, invisible itch that starts before the sky even darkens. I once had a senior Labrador patient, gentle, calm, never flinched. But during storms, she'd pant, shake, dig at the carpet. Her owners thought it was fear. It wasn't. It was static. What helped? Something so simple, it almost feels silly: a dryer sheet. Rub it gently down your dog's back, especially near the spine and hips. Use unscented pet-safe brands. That light wipe. It neutralizes the static and calms them more than you'd expect. It won't fix everything, but sometimes it's enough to take the edge off. And when their body finally relaxes, something else often follows the sudden need to scratch. But not every scratch means itchy. Let's talk about the kind that's all about nails and control. 4. Nail maintenance without clippers. You'd think scratching is just scratching, but sometimes it's a dog trying to take care of what we forgot. Long nails aren't just annoying on hardwood floors. They throw off your dog's balance, strain their joints, and with age can start curling painfully into their paw pads. But here's the challenge: many older dogs hate nail clippers. And frankly, a shaky hand doesn't help either. That's where a DIY scratch board comes in. One of my patients, a shepherd mix named Gracie, was terrified of clippers. Her owner, 72, built a simple ramp with sandpaper, trained Gracie to dig on cue. Within days, she was trimming her own nails. It's safe, stress-free, and surprisingly fast once your dog gets the hang of it. No struggling, no pinching, no guilt. And when they finish, they often look proud, like they did something. And they did. But pride aside, there's one thing that always gets in the way of calm fleas. And what most owners don't realize is you can kill them without chemicals. 5. Flea removal with dish soap. You know that look: the sudden scratch, the head tilt, the back leg kick. Fleas don't ask permission. They just show up. For older dogs, flea bites aren't just itchy. They can trigger allergies, skin infections, even anemia if left unchecked. But what stops many owners from acting fast? The fear of over-medicating or not knowing what's truly safe. Here's what most people don't realize: plain blue dish soap, the kind you already have in your kitchen, breaks down a flea's outer shell. It doesn't poison them. It just makes it impossible for them to hang on. Lather it gently into your dog's coat, especially around the base of the tail and behind the ears. Wait 2 minutes. Then rinse well. You'll see the difference. It's not a cure-all, but when used right, it's a powerful first step, and one that gives you time to decide next moves calmly. And once the itching stops, you might hear another sound instead: deep, relaxed breathing. But what if that breath turns shallow or even stops? There's a hack for that too. One I hope you never need, but must know before it's too late. 6. Emergency vomiting protocol. Here's the moment no dog owner wants, but everyone should prepare for. Your dog eats something it shouldn't. A chocolate bar, grapes, maybe your pills. You panic. They look fine for now. But inside time is ticking. This is where hydrogen peroxide comes in the right way. Used properly, it can safely induce vomiting and buy you time before reaching a vet. But used wrong, it can do more harm than good, especially for flat-faced breeds like bulldogs or pugs. The general rule is 1 teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight. But even then, always call your vet first. Let them guide you based on what was swallowed how long ago and your dog's medical history. One of my clients kept a small bottle in his glove box, not because he planned to use it often, but because he'd already lost one dog waiting for help. And that loss stayed with him. Which is why the next hack isn't about emergencies. It's about helping your dog live calmer day to day, starting with something as simple as sound. 7. Calming with classical music. After panic comes silence, and sometimes silence feels just as heavy. Dogs don't always bark when they're anxious. Some pace, some pant, some stare at the wall like they're waiting for something to go wrong. And for older dogs especially, rescues that quiet anxiety runs deep. But music, the right kind, can change that. Studies now show that slow-tempo classical music lowers heart rate, eases breathing, and reduces barking in dogs. It's not magic. It's science. Just like it calms people after surgery, it helps dogs settle into rest. What works best? Piano, strings. No sharp peaks, no fast drums. Turn it on low, especially when leaving the house or during storms. I had one client whose senior husky refused to nap until she found a Chopin playlist. By week 2, the dog would curl up by the speaker before the music even started. And here's the beautiful part. Sometimes it's not about stopping a problem. It's about building a ritual that makes them feel safe. Like the next hack one that hides comfort inside a frozen treat. 8. Frozen broth cubes. You don't need words to tell your dog you love them. Sometimes a frozen cube says it better. Hot days can take a toll on older dogs. They don't cool down as easily, and some stop drinking enough water without you even noticing. But here's a trick that keeps them hydrated, cooled, and quietly delighted. Make a batch of frozen broth cubes. Low-sodium chicken or beef broth poured into an ice tray frozen overnight. Add a small treat inside each one if you'd like. What you get is more than a snack. It's enrichment. It slows them down, keeps them focused, and gives their body a break from the heat. I've seen dogs ignore water all day, then happily crunch through 3 broth cubes like it's the best gift they've ever received. And when they lick the floor after, that's not mess. That's memory. But let's stay on the floor a little longer. Because sometimes what's under their paws doesn't just annoy them, it hurts them. Especially when it sticks. 9. Hair removal with rubber gloves. You love your dog. You just don't want to wear them. Older dogs shed more than we think, not always because they're unhealthy, but because their coat changes with age. And if you've ever spent an hour vacuuming only to see more hair appear the next morning, you know the battle. But here's something they don't put in instruction manuals. Rubber gloves. Put on a simple pair. Kitchen gloves work just fine. Dampen slightly, then run your hands along the fabric. Couch, car seat, blanket. As you go, the hair balls up like magic. You'll get it all in one easy clump. No machine noise, no strain. One client told me he keeps a glove in the truck, just for this. Says it saves his back and keeps the grandkids from complaining when they sit down. It's small, sure, but sometimes taking care of a dog means solving the quiet problems first. Because when something bigger comes, like digestive trouble from eating too fast, you'll want all the calm and prep you can get. 10. Slowing down fast. Eating sometimes danger hides in the most ordinary places, like your dog's food bowl. Fast eating isn't just messy, it's risky. When dogs gulp down meals too quickly, they swallow air, which can lead to gas choking, or worse, a condition called bloat. For large or deep-chested breeds, especially as they age, bloat isn't just painful. It can be deadly within hours. But you don't need fancy puzzle feeders to fix this. You just need a tennis ball. Drop it into their bowl. Simple as that. It forces them to eat around it, slowing their bites and stretching mealtime just enough to keep their guts safe. One Vietnam vet I met, a retired firefighter, told me he learned this trick from a kennel handler in the 70s. Never lost a dog to bloat since, he said. Ball in the bowl every meal. It's the small things that keep the big things from happening. And speaking of big things, let's talk about what happens when your dog gets loose, and how not chasing them might be the thing that brings them back. 11. The play hurt recall trick. There's nothing like the panic of seeing your dog run and not stop. You call, you chase, but the more you run, the faster they go. Especially in open spaces, older dogs may still have the instinct to bolt, but not always the awareness to find their way back. So what do? You fall. Or at least pretend to. Lie down. Grab your knee. Moan. Make it real. Why? Because to your dog, you're not just their person, you're their pack. And packs protect the weak. It triggers a powerful instinct to return check on you and stay close. I've seen this work more times than I can count, even with stubborn breeds. It's simple, it's safe, and it flips the script. Instead of you chasing them, they come running to you. But for this to work long-term, there's one more step. You need a fail-safe word. One that your dog listens to no matter what. 12. The emergency recall word. When seconds count, your voice should be the anchor. Most dogs learn sit, stay, maybe even shake. But in a crisis, when a gate swings open, a leash slips, or a squirrel bolts across traffic, what really matters is one word. A fail-safe recall that cuts through panic distance and noise. The secret: make it special. Choose a word you never use casually. Something short, sharp, and consistent. Treat works. So does here, as long as it's always paired with a high-value reward. Not kibble, not praise. The big stuff, boiled chicken, warm steak, whatever lights them up. And practice when it's easy, so it sticks when it's hard. I worked with a retired Navy mechanic once, taught his deaf spaniel to respond to a hand signal combined with a stomped foot. Said it gave him peace no collar ever could. Because real security doesn't come from control. It comes from trust built over time. And speaking of trust, there's a place dogs return to every day. Let's make it safer, softer, and cleaner: their bed. 13. Pillowcase bed covers. Every night, your dog returns to the same spot. Their bed, their scent, their safe place. But over time, that cozy corner collects more than comfort, dander, dirt, hair. And if we're honest, sometimes smells that outlast the dog itself. And for older owners, stripping a dog bed, stuffing it in the wash, and wrestling with foam inserts isn't always practical. That's where a simple switch changes everything. Use standard pillowcases as slipcovers. They're soft, washable, easy to replace, and they slide right over most small to medium dog beds or mat toppers. For larger beds, use a zippered cushion cover or a folded flat sheet. Keep 2 in rotation. 1 in use, 1 in the wash. Your dog won't care about the pattern, but they will notice the freshness. And so will your guests. Now let's talk about something not as polite. Something many dogs are oddly obsessed with. The litter box. 14. Litter box barrier. Some things we wish dogs didn't love, but they do. If you've got a cat in the house, chances are you've walked in on your dog doing something less than charming. The litter box becomes a snack bar. Gross to us, irresistible to them. But this isn't just about bad manners. Ingesting cat waste or litter clumps can upset your dog's stomach, spread bacteria, or even lead to blockages. So how do you stop it? Raise the box. Cats are natural jumpers. Dogs, especially older ones, not so much. By placing the litter box on a low table inside a cabinet with a cat-sized opening or behind a baby gate, you create a space dogs can't access, but cats move through easily. I once had a client build a simple wooden crate with a top cutout. His cat loved it. His golden retriever never figured it out. It was peace restored and dignity preserved. And speaking of dignity, let's wrap things up where many dogs struggle most as they age: breath. 15. Parsley for fresh breath. You don't have to get close to smell it. That slow exhale from a tired dog, warm, familiar, and sometimes not great. Bad breath isn't just a cosmetic issue. In older dogs, it can signal dental problems, gut imbalances, or even kidney strain. But brushing every day isn't realistic for most owners or most dogs. That's where parsley comes in. Fresh, flat-leaf parsley chopped fine and added to their food once a day acts as a natural deodorizer. It breaks down sulfur compounds, fights bacteria, and adds a little vitamin C and K in the process. Dogs don't seem to notice it, but you will. One of my older clients used to grow it in a pot near his back porch, said it was cheaper than mints, and the dog doesn't argue. And when your dog breathes easier and smells better, something else happens, you get closer. And sometimes closer is all they really want. So maybe none of these hacks felt dramatic. No flashing lights, no miracle pills. But that's the thing about love and aging. It's not loud, it's quiet. It shows up in parsley leaves and paw wipes, in frozen broth and tennis balls, in small actions repeated daily without needing applause. You came here for a few dog life hacks. What you really got, ways to speak your dog's language, even when they can't say a word back. And now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you do for your dog that makes life easier for both of you? Drop it in the comments. Someone else might need that tip today more than you know. And if this video helped you feel more prepared, more connected, or just more proud to be a dog owner, stick around. Because next time, we're digging into the unspoken rules of how dogs say goodbye and how you'll know when they're asking for help.